We often treat our personal finances like an unpredictable black box. You put work in, get some money out, and the rest feels like a chaotic mystery. Without seeing the internal mechanics, we rely on guesswork, which leaves us vulnerable to impulse decisions and overconfidence. Money is not advanced mathematics. At its core, it is a simple medium of exchange and a unit of account. It operates entirely on universal acceptance, the trust that a bill or digital number holds value. Your gross income passes through a filter of mandatory deductions, like taxes, to produce your net income. This post-filter amount is your real spending power, the actual raw material to operate your financial machine. Capital must be actively routed once it enters the system to prevent lifestyle inflation. You must separate your needs, the basic requirements for survival, from your wants, which are discretionary upgrades to your comfort. This breakdown illustrates a planned allocation method. It divides your total income into distinct categories: 50% for essentials, 20% for savings, 10% for debt repayment, and 20% for lifestyle. You assign a job to every dollar before it's spent. This chart categorizes those expenses to give you finer control. Fixed costs are stable, contractual obligations like rent or insurance premiums. Variable costs are the fluctuating expenses driven by your daily behavior, like groceries or dining out. If you leave these routing valves completely open, your financial system will bleed capital. Active budgeting applies constraints, turning chaos into a controlled flow. A perfectly balanced monthly budget can still fail. That failure happens when the timing of money entering and exiting the system is misaligned. This timeline shows cash flow dynamics. Paychecks and scattered bills create a continuous sine wave of surplus peaks and deficit valleys. Right here is the shortfall gap. It's a vulnerable window where outgoing payments peak just before your next inflow, risking overdrawn accounts. You bridge this gap using defensive mechanics. You can build a permanent cash buffer in your checking account to absorb the timing mismatch, or you can contact your providers and actively negotiate your bill due dates so they align directly with your inflow cycles. A positive net worth offers zero protection if you run out of liquid cash on a Tuesday. Mastering the calendar is a requirement for mastering the ledger. This equation breaks down the true cost of borrowing. Credit allows you to pull future capital into the present, but it carries a rental fee known as interest. Interest is a percentage of the principal amount you borrowed, charged continuously over time. Here we see the divergence between two forms of debt. Productive, good debt leverages capital to acquire assets that appreciate or generate income, like a mortgage. Consumption, or bad debt, burns future capital to buy depreciating lifestyle items today, like high-interest credit cards. This dual channel illustrates compounding interest, where interest generates its own interest. Saving acts as a massive accelerant, mathematically snowballing wealth. But borrowing becomes a severe corrosive. Paying only minimum balances means unpaid interest adds to your principal, charging you interest on the interest. Debt is a mechanical lever, not a moral failing. But applying the compounding force of interest to consumption is the fastest way to dismantle your financial machine. There is a critical flaw in simply hoarding your capital. Money stored safely under a mattress or sitting static in a checking account is degrading. This graphic demonstrates inflation, the continuous rise in the cost of goods and services. As prices increase, the purchasing power of your static money drops. The number in your account stays the same, but the real value rots away. Here we see the two distinct reservoirs required to combat this decay. Savings are a highly liquid, low-risk safety net meant for immediate emergencies, but they offer almost zero growth. Investments are an illiquid, higher-risk wealth engine meant to aggressively grow your capital. True financial safety requires intentionally exposing your capital to market risk. You must invest so your money grows faster than inflation eats it. The financial machine has no intrinsic value of its own. Its sole purpose is to produce the capital necessary to hit specific targets. We call these timeline-based targets financial goals. This chart maps out how your time horizon dictates your asset choice. For a short-term goal, like a car down payment, you prioritize safety and quick access to cash. But for a long-term goal, like retirement, you shift into equities, accepting short-term volatility to capture decades of maximum compounding growth. This matrix prioritizes goals by urgency and impact.
filtering distractions to focus on what drives results. Because income is finite, every choice carries a cost. Saying yes to a luxury car today requires a calculated no to retiring early. Financial freedom is the natural outcome of a consciously engineered system. You filter the noise, you control the flow, and you compound your capital toward the future you actually want.